Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 585. I am Amish Shackle. Foreign news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
Most watched newscast, now streaming same day with all the breaking news of the day on Disney Plus. Most watched, most trusted, now on Disney Plus every night.
Tonight, the breaking news, the Supreme Court striking down President Trump's tariffs, the president responding tonight, and the Northeast bracing for a major storm now, this nor'easter moving in. First tonight, the nation's highest court saying President Trump exceeded his authority when it comes to his tariffs. President Trump tonight launching a scathing attack on the justices, saying he's ashamed of some of them, calling them fools and disloyal. Economists say these tariffs are essentially a tax on Americans, on businesses buying the goods from overseas, and then much of that cost passed on to consumers. The court tonight saying the power of taxation belongs to Congress. Tonight, the president and what he says he now plans to do. Also tonight, this nor'easter moving in, the new forecast just in tonight, bringing a of storm. Many cities, New York City, Philadelphia, Washington, D.C. This was right up into Boston and Wheatland. League standing by to time this out. Tonight, hear the royal fallout, the former Prince Andrew and his arrest connected to the Jeffrey Epstein case. Tonight, hear new developments where police are searching now. Here in the U.S., the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, Savannah Guthrie's mother. And tonight, why investigators now say they are open to the possibility that that masked suspect at her front door might have had an accomplice. Aaron Katursky standing by with what he's learned. The U.S. military buildup and President Trump tonight now acknowledging he is considering a possible limited U.S. military strike on Iran. And ABC News has now learned a limited number of American troops may be moved out of their bases in the region. Ian Pannell standing by with late reporting here. Back home tonight, the tributes pouring in for actor Eric Dane. The Grey's Anatomy star later in Euphoria, his heroic battle against ALS. What he told Diane Sawyer not long after his diagnosis, his words even more moving tonight, his final hope. There are dramatic images coming in tonight, a man ramming into a power facility, police in this country, and the alarming new numbers involving the measles in the U.S. Nearly 1,000 cases, far more than what they normally see in an entire year. And on this Friday night here, we celebrate the U.S. men's hockey team on their way now for a gold medal showdown against Canada. We'll go right to Italy, right here.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
On this Friday night, Trump's tariffs terminated. The U.S. Supreme Court strikes down the president's core economic policy, how Trump is lashing out.
So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge him a little fee.
His plans for new tariffs and why the ruling may not be relief for Canada.
It's not the end of the war.
British investigators dig deeper into former Prince Andrew's past over his ties to Jeffrey Epstein as the royal family faces growing backlash.
I think they've been protected all their lives, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is only the beginning.
Plus, another nail-biter for Canadian hockey fans. July's semi-finals brings the men's team one win away from Olympic gold. Global national. Giving us the U.S. Supreme Court delivered its highly anticipated ruling on Donald Trump's tariffs. America's highest court found the president overstepped his authority when he invoked emergency powers to impose those levies last spring. Now, this ruling is not expected to affect most Canadian exports, which are handled separately, and we'll have more on the Canadian consequences in just a moment. But we begin in Washington, where a seething President Trump fired back, announcing plans for new tariffs. Jackson Frosco has our top story tonight.
Incorrect. Their decision's incorrect.
Stinging from his devastating loss at the Supreme Court, President Donald Trump lashed out over the defeat of his sprawling tariffs.
It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interest.
In a 6-3 ruling, the justices declared Trump's global tariffs are illegal and struck them down immediately. They found Trump exceeded his authority when he bypassed Congress and used an emergency powers law to impose the duties. Chief Justice John Roberts noted no president has invoked the statute to impose any tariffs, let alone tariffs of this magnitude and scope.
I can do anything I want to do to them, but I can't charge any money. So I'm allowed to destroy the country, but I can't charge them a little fee.
This is going to turn some things on its head, and I'm sure it's going to be quite disruptive to the administration at this point.
Immediately after the ruling, Trump vowed to impose an additional 10% global tariff under a different law. Those new tariffs can only remain in effect for 150 days without approval.
So this week, SF Mayor Daniel Lurie did something the city's been waiting for a long time. And no, it wasn't replacing Rice-A-Roni with me as the San Francisco treat. Actually, he signed legislation paving the way for the Reset Center, which stands for Rapid Enforcement Support Evaluation and Triage. It means if you're using drugs on the street, police can arrest you. Instead of just cycling you back out, they take you to a facility where you sober up in a safe, controlled environment to get treatment. In other words, it's what should have been done long ago for many Californians. In short, it's off the sidewalk and into recovery. And this is happening in SF, a place where many turned to drugs 60 years ago in an effort to make this woman pretty. Now, even Dr. Drew says this is going to make a huge difference and immediately save lives. Of course, he said the same thing the first time he saw me in a Speedo, but he's right. This is going to work. Of course, for years, San Fran treated public drug use like it was a classic city feature, like cable cars or sourdough bread and drag queens spin the bottle at all area elementary schools. They'd say, oh, you're struggling? Here's a fresh syringe. They were basically getting people to kill themselves, otherwise known as the Hillary method. Meanwhile, the rest of us had to step over someone who just OD'd just to get into a sex dungeon. But now Lurie's saying something radical, which is we're not going to let you slowly die in public anymore. We're going to intervene and get you into treatment. And that's the only way it works. Actual compassion isn't found in enabling destructive behavior. Real compassion says, I care enough to stop you from destroying yourself and others. Advice Dr. Jill probably should have heeded. Now, the city could have done this anytime they wanted. The authority was there, but not the will. So why now? Well, unlike so many other Democrats, Lurie came from a business background. The first thing you learn in business school, having bodies strewn around your property doesn't attract paying customers. The current strategy only benefited the junkie, and as healthy taxpayers bolted, the city just got worse and worse because that grim lifestyle only attracted more of it. But while SF's woke bureaucrats embrace suicidal empathy, he's trying to fix the city. And if he does, it breaks the ice for other major cities to do the same. Because if SF streets get safer and overdoses drop and businesses come back, then suddenly those other mayors have to do the same thing. And like the bathroom towels in Kid Rock's trailer, that can be contagious. For years, the message to addicts was, we respect your journey. Meanwhile, the journey ended in a body bag. Well, now that journey is being terminated. And it's good. It's about time. Because when I go to San Fran, I prefer to see my naked hippies alive.
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
How can I help you?
मैं किस्तों में मोबाइल लेना चाह रहा हूँ, क्या ये पॉसिबल?
जी बिल्कुल, आप पैसे ऐड किए उससे 30,000 से 1,40,000 तक का मोबाइल ले।
और इंस्टॉलमेंट?
इसकी 6 मंथ की इंस्टॉलमेंट है।
अच्छा, इसका मार्कअप क्या है?
मार्कअप 0.1 से 0.5%।
और ये कब तक डिलीवर हो जाएगा?
ये सिर्फ 2 से 4 दिनों में डिलीवर हो जाएगा।
चलो मैं अभी ऑर्डर करता हूँ आपसे। थैंक यू।
क्विक कैश, इजी लाइफ, डाउनलोड पैसा यार।
Hello and very good morning to you. This is Sky News at 4 a.m. These are your latest headlines. The wrath of a scorned President Donald Trump has announced a new global 10% tariff after the US Supreme Court ruled against his previously imposed duties. Is this the end of the line for the former Duke of York? It's understood the government's considering legislation to remove Andrew Mountbatten Windsor from the line of succession. Meanwhile, police are continuing their search of the former prince's previous home and confirm that they are contacting royal protection officers who worked with him also this morning.
The UK's been colonised by immigrants, really, isn't it?
After Manchester United's co-owner said these words to Sky News, we understand the Football Association has reminded him of his responsibilities but won't take further action. Hello and a very good morning to you. Thanks for joining us here on Sky News. Donald Trump has imposed a new global tariff on nearly all imports in response to the US Supreme Court ruling his previously imposed levies were illegal. Writing on his Truth Social platform, the US president said he signed a proclamation from the Oval Office sanctioning a new 10% tariff to be effectively almost immediately. The universal tax will be enforced for 150 days, but some products will be exempt. It comes after Mr. Trump criticised the judges for the decision and said it meant foreign countries would be dancing in the streets, although not for long. Our US correspondent James Matthews reports.
Donald Trump had called this Supreme Court judgment its most important ever. For him, well, it's a judgment most damaging.
The Supreme Court's ruling on tariffs is deeply disappointing, and I'm ashamed of certain members of the court. It's my opinion that the court has been swayed by foreign interests.
The tariff. It's been Donald Trump's poster policy.
China, European Union, they're very tough. Vietnam.
But after his big show and tell, America's highest court has told him where to get off. He called them beautiful.
Tariffs. It's a beautiful word, isn't it? I always say it's my favorite word in the dictionary. It's one of the most beautiful words. Tariffs. My favorite word.
People, he said, liked the idea.
He said, sir, I want to kiss you. I said, why? He said, because we were down to working 1 hour a week, and then you came in and imposed tariffs.
A tariff is a charge on imports. A company buys something from abroad and is charged a tariff, a fee. The tariff has been the cornerstone of Donald Trump's foreign and economic policy, slapping tariffs on goods imported to raise money and to wield political...
Never the one to put Jess's kids in danger. What did you do, Monopoly?
A man charged after allegedly ramming a ute into the gates of Brisbane's largest synagogue.
This is a criminal investigation. Police are considering the man's mental health and intoxication as being contributing factors.
US President Donald Trump orders a worldwide 10% tariff after the Supreme Court struck down his signature economic policy.
I'm ashamed of certain members of the court, absolutely ashamed, for not having the courage to do what's right for our country.
The British government considers removing Andrew from the line of royal succession as police continue to investigate the former prince's Epstein links. And NASA sets a new date to send astronauts back around the moon. Hello, welcome to ABC News. I'm Lorna Dunkley. A man's been charged after a ute was allegedly rammed into the gates of the Brisbane synagogue last night. The 32-year-old is facing court on multiple charges, including willful damage, serious vilification or hate crime, and dangerous driving. Our reporter, Tara Cassidy, joins us now from Brisbane. Afternoon, Tara. Tell us what happened.
Well, we know that police were called to Margaret Street here in the Brisbane CBD just after 7 o'clock last night to reports that a driver had reversed into the gates here at the Brisbane synagogue and luckily didn't do too much damage, but it did bring down one of the gates. There was actually a man standing behind the gate at the time that was narrowly missed.
What have police had to say about the incident?
Well, they said that the driver was a 32-year-old man from Sunnybank who was known to them. He did flee the scene, but they were able to use Pol Air to track him down and arrest and charge him a short time later. He's since been remanded in custody. Now, they're also saying that while they are not treating this as a terrorist incident, they are treating it as a targeted attack.
Our specialist counter-terrorism officers have been involved in the investigation from the very start, and I can confirm this is not considered a terrorist incident. This is a criminal investigation. Police are considering the man's mental health and intoxication as being contributing factors.
Tara, has there been any reaction from the community there?
Yes, we did hear from a member of the Jewish Board of Deputies a little earlier who said, understandably, the Jewish community is devastated by what has happened here overnight.
A synagogue is a sacred space, a place of prayer, reflection, and community. To see its gates viciously rammed is profoundly devastating and is not dissimilar to what we have seen throughout the globe.
Now, she said that there has...
Vienna Airport said it was forced to temporarily halt all flights while electric companies have reported.
This is Asia Now.
It's 12 p.m. in Singapore and Hong Kong, 9:30 in New Delhi, and 11 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Keith Liu. At this hour, the U.S. Supreme Court strikes down Trump's tariffs, telling the president he overstepped his powers. The defiant leader slams justices who voted against his trade policy and has already imposed new levies in response.
Today I will sign an order to impose a 10% global tariff under Section 122, over and above our normal tariffs already being charged. And we're also initiating several Section 301 and other investigations to protect our country from unfair trading practices of other countries and companies.
The U.S. is mulling limited strikes on Iran as the window on a nuclear deal narrows. Tehran says agreement is still achievable, but warns it would respond to any attack with strikes on U.S. bases within its reach. And the probe into ties between Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and the late convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein deepens, with British police questioning the former prince's protection officers and the government looking to remove him from the line of succession.
Africa News. The news.
France has denied deploying troops to the Democratic Republic of the Congo after a photo this week appeared to show French soldiers in Kisangani. The country's embassy in Kinshasa said the French army is involved in training Congolese armed forces, known as the FARDC, as part of a standard bilateral cooperation effort in place since 2022. The northeastern city of Kisangani is a major hub for the Congolese military's drone and logistics operations. The embassy said the French army's mission is focused on training Congo's jungle battalions and is expected to continue until the end of next month. Belgian forces are also training FARDC soldiers as part of the European Peace Facility. Last year, more than 1,000 Congolese soldiers received training from MONUSCO peacekeepers in an effort to help protect civilians from armed groups in Ituri, and North and South Kivu.
Fatou Sanyang says she still experiences extreme pain decades after undergoing female genital mutilation as a girl in the Gambia. The procedure, which involves total or partial removal of girls' external genitalia, ignites strong passions in the West African nation. It made headlines last year after the death of 2 babies. The practice was banned in 2015, but its supporters went underground, and it remains widespread to date.
And we went to somewhere in a place where it is filled up with old women. They tied my face. I didn't understand what was happening, but then I could only had the sound of cries of other girls that were also there, and then unfortunately I was also taken, and it was not an easy journey, honestly.
Religious leaders and traditionalists have run to the Supreme Court to have the ban overturned. But activists are fighting back, pointing to the damage wrought to women's health, sexuality, and well-being.
So female circumcision is part of our religious belief. Whoever block it.
Hello and welcome to Night Watch on France 24. I'm Charlotte Hughes, and here are our top stories of this hour. Donald Trump announces a 10% global import duty for 150 days, moving quickly to replace tariffs struck down by the Supreme Court. It comes after Trump slammed the court ruling, saying he was, I quote, ashamed of the justices. Turkish authorities detain a journalist with German public broadcaster Deutsche Welle for allegedly, I quote, insulting the president. Berlin is calling for the immediate release of Alican Uludağ, referring to the accusations against him as baseless. And the UK is to weigh of legislation to remove ex-Prince Andrew from the line of succession once the police probe into his ties with Jeffrey Epstein is over. This according to a UK official. It comes as police urge anyone with accusations of sex offences relating to Epstein to speak up. We begin this bulletin in the...
This is DW News, live from Berlin. Donald Trump lashes out as the U.S. Supreme Court strikes down his global trade tariffs. Justices ruled the president did not have the authority to impose billions of dollars in levies. Trump calls those who ruled against him a disgrace and announces a new 10% worldwide tariff. And Barcelona's Sagrada Familia finally tops out as a cross is placed on its highest tower. The landmark Gothic cathedral has been under construction for more than a century, and it's not finished quite yet. And we meet a baby monkey that's found its happy place again, snuggling with an orangutan doll in place of its mother.
Thank you for watching. I'm Shakil 5858. I hope you will come again. Have a good life. Bye-bye.